In this tutorial, we're going to cover how to access class and individual student reports as it relates to quizzes in Educate. To begin, you're going to want to have assigned a quiz to your students to take, and they will have had to have taken the quiz to be able to do any of the items listed in this tutorial. So to begin, we're going to go and click on the Quiz tab in the User menu. Here we'll be able to see all of the quizzes that we have available throughout our different classes that we've created as a teacher in Educate. So as you can see here, we have a quiz. It's a short little quiz. The report status was an instant report release, so as soon as students completed the quiz, they were able to access their scores and their reports associated with those scores. So from here, we're going to click on View Report, and this will give us a report view of all of the students in the class that have taken that individual quiz. So as you can see, we have a report here. There's some basic details, the details regarding the quiz itself, the instructions that were provided to the students, and then here we have the raw score of the different students that took the quiz. So in this example, we just had one student who took this quiz, but if you had a group of 20 students, that would obviously impact the raw score there. So here we have the next section here, which is next steps. So based on the results of all the students in the class, the report will suggest certain topics based on the success rate of different concepts covered in that assessment. So in this particular assessment, the concept of hardware and software would be a must-cover topic based on the success, or rather the issues that students appear to have shown based on their answers. The next section here is question-wise analysis. So here we will list all of the questions within that assessment, the concept that's tied to it, if there's a learning objective tied to it as well, the cognitive level of the question, and then of course the answers based on the question, whether it's a short answer or if it's a multiple choice question. So here you'll be able to see what percentage of students answered that particular answer. So in these two questions, 100% of the students that answered this question got it correct. So that can give us some insight on understanding as it relates to those topics. Here we have student-wise question analysis, and again, the more students that you have, you will be able to see these. There will be a row for each student. So for this particular student, they did not perform well in the concept of hardware and software, whereas in troubleshooting and algorithms, that was not something that the student seemed to struggle with. They performed appropriately within those two concepts. And then finally, at the end of the report is a question-wise analysis, or a detailed view of each question. So it'll break down each question, what the answer was, and then how the students in the class responded. So this is a nice diagnostic tool to be able to determine, as it relates to concepts and teaching, what concepts need to be perhaps recovered or remediated with instruction, and which of those maybe were well received and understood by students as a whole. So that is the class report, which again, that was accessible via that quiz listing page by clicking on that View Report button. Now, if we want to view individual student scores, we can go ahead and click on this link here, or access it directly from the class as well. So we can click on this link to open up the quiz detail page. So here is the quiz detail page. So when we set the settings for this quiz, this is how that appeared. We can always update settings from here. But for the purpose of this tutorial, we're going to take a look at how individual students answered and completed the assessment. So to do that, we're just going to click on See Result, and that will provide us with a list of the students who have responded. So both the name of the student and the time that they attempted their quiz, as well as the scores they received for that particular assessment. From there, we can click on this button here, which allows us to view the report. This is an individual report for that specific student. So it allows us to see and gain access to how they answered the questions, how many questions that individual student got correct. So this is more, I would say, for a grading perspective, how that would be useful, whereas The class-wide report is more of an overall understanding of how the class understood the concepts being assessed in that quiz. So that is how we can access the two different types of reports related to quizzes in Nasco Educate. Be sure to check out our other tutorials to learn how to maximize and utilize the platform.